The second time is when I could have actually used the lock feature. I was drunk going to my car that when I entered the car, I fell asleep.
Right.
So the way I woke up is somebody kept tapping my chest. And I wake up, one area boy is beside me in the driver's side. One area boy is sitting in the front seat. One is in the front of the car. The other one's in the back. Immediately, I just see that down. What up, people? It's your favorite podcast man back with another one. My name is Michael Scenario.
And I'm Murray. Welcome here.
And this is Menisms, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a special episode today for you guys because we are sponsored by the people at Pompey. And there's going to be more information on that later. But again, a special episode by the people at Pompey. Make sure you subscribe to all our audio channels. You already know what it is on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. You know where to find us. And again, thank you guys for everything you guys are doing for us, supporting us, sending in dilemmas, questions. We, of course, are going to start with one, and I will let Muriwa read it.
And this one is by Confused Boy. So this says, "Hello, Michael. Hello, Murray. I feel bad." That's the title. Been an OG on the pod since you mentioned on your TikTok that you wanted to start a podcast. I'm 24 male. I met this girl 6 months after my 2-year relationship fell apart. She was much older, 7 years older, but the attraction to one another was undeniable. After speaking at length, I told her the age gap was a little too wide for both of us to go all the way, and she agreed. Fast forward to 7 months, we've been friends with benefits. I reconnected with my ex, the one before the 2-year one. Me and her stopped being intimate after I entered the talking stage. The convo was flowing, so we decided to try it. Because the last time was a few weeks long. Okay. I really love her a lot. Friends with Benefits noticed. She asked and I spilled. I never cheated on my new girl, by the way. She's been cold since. I don't like how things are. What do? Do I go the closure route or just ghost? She's a very emotional person, but always has to toughen up. Okay, this was a difficult one to read, but basically what the guy is saying here is that he broke up after a 2-year relationship, started talking to this lady who was 7 years older than he is, and they hit it off. You know, they became friends with benefits for a couple of months, and then he reconnected with an ex that was from before the 2-year relationship. And so now, according to him, you know, they got into a talking stage. When he got into that talking stage, he stopped seeing the older lady. And so the older lady probably noticed it was distancing and then brought it up. And then he fessed up and said that he's seen someone else. Now he's saying that she's been cold since and he doesn't know how to handle it. Should he go the closure route or should he just ghost?
I would say it depends on what stress you can handle, to be honest. Friends with benefit doesn't mean relationship. I mean, out of respect, you want to have a conversation. But really, friends with benefits doesn't entitle me to explain everything to you. To be honest, you even being honest about your ex, I mean, respect to you, but I would have never told her because, again, you're friends with benefits. And the same rules apply with you where you don't have to tell me about your exes or nothing until we become official. So if it's friends with benefits, she's not supposed to be getting emotional about what you're doing, things like that outside. And obviously, a lot of people always say friends with benefits never works because emotions are attached, but that's why you have to set the ground rules. So for me, I would personally if she's over emotional, I won't talk about it too much and I'll let it be. Or I'll just say like, hey, like maybe we should take some time off.
So I think for me, ultimately, it depends on what kind of relationship he's trying to have with her afterwards, which is she someone that he sees a bit of value in beyond the friends with benefits, in which case you may want to manage that relationship a little better and may want to go the closure route, again, only because you see that you want to nurture a friendship that can be a mutual benefit to both you and her. It could even be career-wise, because, you know, there's some friends with benefits that, outside of your activities in the bedroom, you guys still actually have some value that you exchange between each other. That is, maybe you work in a field that complements mine, and I'm able to get some contracts because, you know, we are friends beyond, you know, the benefits part. So if he sees that she's someone who he sees some value in, then he can go the closure route. You can decide to manage it, in a way that, she's not upset, too upset, and explain to her that, of course, there was nothing official going on between you guys. I mean, you're an adult, you know how to handle that conversation. But I would say the only reason I would go a closure route is if I see that there's some value beyond the benefits that we had that I want to keep the person around for. But if, again, like Michael mentioned earlier, if there's too much stress involved with keeping that person around, value or not, honestly, I would just be on my way.
I wouldn't even be doing a friends with benefit with somebody I'm working with.
Well, you may not be working with the person, but
even
you just
if
see
it's
potential.
close, even if it's potential, I still
no,
wouldn't.
there-
So I personally just say, let it be. She's older too, bro. Sometimes you have to be selfish. Just let it be, man. So yeah. But thank you for that. That was a very interesting dilemma. I mean, having a friends with benefits with somebody that's older, I've been there where I ghosted my last friends with benefits years ago that was older than me, only because when I tried to explain to her, like explaining to older women, sometimes they don't have patience and they give you strikes. So by the time I reach like my strike 2 and shit, like I'm like, see, this woman's not gonna hear me out. I'm gonna just go do my thing, and I let it be. I mean, obviously we bumped into each other years later, and I explained it to her and she understood. But again, it was better for me because I didn't want to face that emotional stress, because again, you're not my girlfriend. So
Do you think that sometimes, by them being older, they sort of, in some cases, feel that, yes, they understand that you're single, they kind of understand the game, they probably understood the game before you did because they've been there before you were. But because they're older and they do find interest in you, they, to some extent, and not all cases, believe that by them being older and more mature, more everything than the other girls you'll be having around you, they expect that they should have the highest priority. Did you ever sometimes feel that way?
I didn't care. I honestly didn't care.
So
Because you're older than me doesn't mean now you have more priority. It's not secondary school. I don't give a fuck what it is. Like if we're sleeping together, we're sleeping together. However, if I am being intimate with you, obviously you're gonna have a priority. And that's why I said at that time she had priority, because that's the person I'm seeing. But again, with friends with benefits, that's why you state the rules early that you are both still single. So again, what I'm saying still applies for her, where you are my priority for now because we are sleeping together, but it doesn't mean you are my priority.
So when I
vice
say
versa.
priority, I don't mean like priority in your life, just priority.
No,
with
that's
other
what I'm
people you
saying.
may be talking
Priority with
to.
other women. Like, not my life. Definitely not my life if it's friends with benefits. I'm talking about in terms of if I'm talking to different girls. Because obviously, when you're doing friends with benefits, more than likely you're talking to somebody else, whether man or woman. So if we're going to be honest and real with each other, I'm saying your priority whereby, okay, this is the girl I am sleeping with right now. I am not sleeping with any other girl. However, am I talking to other girls? Possibly. But I am not sleeping with them, because obviously that's a whole different mess where you're sleeping with 2-3 girls at the same time. It's a mess. So she's my priority for them. But because you're older doesn't entitle you to anything. Because the funny thing is, you might even have the upper leverage where, because you're older, and because you're older doesn't mean you know the game better, but at times it means you've been through the experience, which means you could definitely have a man in your life that I would never know about. So that's why I was like, when he went to go and tell her about the ex, I'm like, that's a rookie move, number one. So, I mean, that's for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, gauging already that the person is emotional, I would definitely not come forth with that information, because, like you said, there's a stress that even comes with breaking off with the person. Where if they are emotional, they won't just leave it as, okay, he's moved on. Either you're trying to blow up my phone, or you're leaving me messages back to back. Especially when, like, I've kind of, I won't tell you that there's an ex or whatever the case, but you just kind of see I'm distancing, or maybe we talk and I'm like, yeah, honestly, I feel like we should kind of, split things up or go our separate ways, or, kind of just stay to being friends, whatever the case, whatever line you're trying to use to kind of break things off. For people who are emotional, sometimes they don't just take that as, okay, I guess this chapter is closed, let me move on with my life. Sometimes, especially if there's more emotions invested, they want to blow up. So, like you said, giving certain information will just make it worse for me.
Mm.
Because what do you mean now I have to tell you? Now I'm equipping you with the information that it's my ex that even drew me away from you, and now you have more to
And any human being will just feel a type of way if they hear the ex is what's bringing up, even that it's a new girl, it's your ex. So
and
it's
then
like, what's the point?
it's an now turn to, oh, so you even knew you were not over your ex and you brought me in. I'm like, it's not even that. This ex and I have not even been talking for years, but she just came back. But like you said, equipping her with that information will now start feeding into so many imaginations. She'll now start adding to, oh, so I'm sure you're even talking to her all the time, so you're telling me
That's
that,
your
blah, blah, blah.
problem. That's your problem. Your problem.
Yeah.
But
Well,
again,
yeah.
shout out to you. Hopefully you figure it out. Again, you're young. Enjoy your life. Don't let anybody hold you down unless they're your girlfriend or wife. That's all I'll say.
Facts. Speaking of young, I saw a post. Can't remember when I saw this post, but it was talking about. And it was a guy talking about what men should do in their younger days, in preparation for life generally. And he was saying that men should spend most of their 20s making money, and just focusing on making money only because money is the one way society values you. And I sat with that statement, and I just kind of wanted to sizzle on it a little bit. What do you think? First of all, let me ask you what you think before I take my own take on it. So, what do you think about the concept of men only focusing on money? That's your major priority in your 20s, nothing else, and then
I was about to say I have to think about it, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, common answer would be yeah, to be honest, but. I mean, based off my own experiences, that's why I said I have to think, because I've had a lot of experiences in my 20s traveling around the world, and also I've seen a lot of different experiences being in different countries. To be honest, I think it depends. I think it's a true statement that most men should be focusing on money, because when you get to your late 20s, late 30s, it starts to show what work you did in your early mid 20s to put you in the position that you are. But the beautiful thing about life is anything can change overnight if you're willing to put the work in. It's just that if you start early, then, things are easier with each age. So yeah, mine's a 50. Come back to me. What about you? Because I'm still processing this statement.
Cool. All right, so like you mentioned, which was a very very striking statement, is the typical answer would be yes. But here's what my own take on this is. I mean, the first part of the statement says, or the parts of the statement, it does have elements of truth, but where he says that that's the only way society will really value you, I mean, he's not wrong, right? But my problem is, it starts off with, are you someone who is striving for society's approval? That's the first thing. Because if you are, it's an endless race. You continue. When you get the money, then money stops being enough. There's another value system that society brings to you again. Now you need to be married with children to be valued by society. Okay, you now have to focus on that one as well. Now you need to be someone who is not just making money, but making money in certain fields, or making money and doing something with the money you're making. You now should, because look at it. You see so many times where you're a billionaire, and then people who, say for example, we're in the era of social media, so you can't escape that anymore, right? So if you're a billionaire, you can't be a billionaire in the dark. Someone somewhere has already researched it. So and now they're trying to find out what you do with your money, and if you help the poor with your money. And then when you're not doing what they believe you should be doing with your money, then they say this is just a selfish, rich. So at what point then do we draw the line on getting society's approval? So my own take is, yes, do focus on a means of survival. And when I say means of survival, I mean a sustainable one, which is, it could be that you make money for what you believe the lifestyle you want is. Not everybody's trying to get society's approval. Not everybody's trying to be a billionaire. Not everybody's trying to be a multimillionaire. Some people just want to be okay. I want to be able to afford economy class to travel anywhere I want to go. Not everybody's trying to do business or first class. And let's be honest with that, right? So, and I think when you look at that train of thought, it then comes back to, should I really be spending all my 20s focusing only on money? Because for me, there's so many other aspects of a man that you need to grow apart from making money. I feel like you should also experience dating, make your mistakes in those 20s, right? It gives you time to reflect on how to be more mature. And I say more mature because When you come to your 30s, you're now in the position where you're advising younger people. Don't advise them on the dark in the dark without the knowledge of how to navigate other aspects of life outside of making money. So as much as yes, making money is important in your 20s, I feel like it should only balance in with everything else that needs to be experienced. And I get it that, men feel this pressure that we need to get society's approval by being rich or having money. But again, it's still just for lack of a better word, it's a game that we're all playing. Not everybody's trying to play that game. Those who want to, hey, by all means, do your hustle, become the richest person, make sure that everybody sees you have money, and then that changes your persona, makes people see you differently. That's great, right? But I don't believe that that's a model that everyone needs to abide by. That's my own take on that.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't really focus on making money in my 20s just because like everything I was doing like automatically brought money in a way. Like if I look at my undergrad times, do I wish I focused on money more? Yeah, because obviously I was doing parties and events and I was making money, but it wasn't my focus just because like I was enjoying my university experience. I probably had the best out of the average person in the UK just because like I made sure that I already know these 4 years are all I have to like wild out, go crazy, have all these stories. No parents, no nothing. Like you can actually make all the mistakes you want in university and they don't really hinder you unless it's something crazy.
Yeah.
So it's more of I built myself as a person. I set a foundation for myself because obviously with my career, what I did later on, it started from university, it started from being known in society, at least to an extent amongst my peers, like amongst millennials, that, okay, this is the guy that does events. This is the guy that throws some good parties and shit. And then just being known is like, people forget it's not all about money. Like it is about money because money is what fuels your ambitions. It fuels your projects. It can help speed up some things, but influence is probably one of the most important things to also have, because you can have money and no influence and you're a nobody. But then if you have money and influence, and sometimes when you have influence alone, that can get you further than the money, because you could possibly have more money than me, but then because I know these people or because they know who I am, I can enter any door, which has happened to me. Because in my 20s, I know before, like, I didn't have the money a lot of these like artists like Davido, all of them will have, but I was entering some of the same rooms as them. You get what I'm saying? And even up to now, I still do, but at least now, I'm at least at a point that I'm making my own money. So to be honest, I wouldn't switch it. The only thing, like I said, I would have done is maybe be more intentional with the money. And even, to be honest, even if I was intentional with the money, I don't even think it's about making money. It's understanding money habits, because even me that I said I was making money, I was blowing that shit, spending it every week, because it's like, you're making good pounds as a student. I'm traveling to this country. Like, I know, like, I did like in university, I did 2 holidays in Spain, which, to be honest, I don't regret. Greatest time ever in Ibiza. But then it's like, if you thought long term, that money you'd use now, I could have saved it. Okay, when I was balling out sometimes on these girls in uni now, I'm not balling like obviously adult balling, but like university balling, I could have saved that money. So I feel like it would have been in my 20s, or a lot of people in their 20s should understand money habits first, because you could easily start making money at any point in your life. But the question is, do you know how to retain that money? And that's something I had to learn late. Like when I started making like real money in my late 20s upwards, I didn't have good money management because that wasn't something I practiced or learnt. It was like, okay, you're making good money, okay, I'll save some, but okay, there's another check coming, don't worry, boom boom boom, okay, big check has come again, okay, don't, based off last time, spend. But then there are times now that will come that you would have months and there's no money, or you might have weeks. Like when I say months, it depends on your industry. Like for example, like the entertainment industry, there's party every month if you want to, but then there are sometimes like you might have a cold season because you know the audience now, they're not out as much or something, so you have to figure out another hustle. So I mean, long story short, what I'm basically trying to say is obviously make your money in your 20s, but learn money management and also be just somebody of influence in any regard. I mean, even now I do comedy, quote unquote, or content, but trust me, I know how influential I am, that I can enter any room even still, because I still have a background of what I did before. And even up till now, I know that even with what I'm doing, I've leveraged it to do other things. So now when the real money comes, it's like I'm going to feel unstoppable because I've built the influence. I've built the foundation, which a lot of young people should do. So that's my answer. Build your foundation and build money habits.
Fair enough. I mean, you mentioned something I want to ask about though. So, and I think this is it's a very interesting question that I'm not even sure I have a clear answer to, apart from the generic answer. But what do you think in the 20s generally as a guy? Because as guys, there's the general stuff that we all experience. All of it, just like how experiencing breakup, experiencing dating girls, there's a general thing we experience. What would you say is the one thing that is a money guzzler as a guy in your 20s? And I wish there's other stuff aside women, but I mean, I'd like to hear what else would you say is like a money guzzler? What's something that you...
Women actually never took my money in 20s.
Okay, so what would you say took your money?
I was a cheap nigga. Like, you would come over. I mean, I'll still pay for dates, but I've always just been the kind of guy, I don't need to splash money on you to get you. Like, because I already learned the game early, like, if I'm spending, like, when I was younger in my 20s, I was already going clubbing from, like, 2019, 21 with all my older brothers. So I've been around the ballers and all that. That's how I started. Those are my OGs up to now. Shout out to all of you. But I saw how all of them used to move. And I'll see, like, how some of the baddies will come. Now, some of them already had influence. So because of that influence, they were using that the girls will come. And every guy knows how to package yourself now, that you will spend a little money, but not crazy. So when I saw that early, I took that same approach where it's like, I'm going to use my influence to be getting girls. And then I'm just going to make sure like the dates are still nice, chill dates. Like I said, you can bring a girl to your world if she likes you. So, but...
So what then? Because I mean, something was taking your money in your 20s.
No,
so if
it was
wasn't
probably,
them, then what was it?
to be honest, it was just, as I said, it was stupid shit like food, traveling. Because again, then I didn't know how to cook, so I was ordering a lot. And people think it sounds small, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of money when you spend on food regularly in your 20s. It's a lot of money when you're traveling. It's a lot of money when you spend on partying.
Clothes. I would say for me, it was clothes. I would
Nah,
spend
it was
on
never.
retail therapy a lot for some reason, right? In my 20s, it was just about buying whatever was trendy. The new stickers are out. Yeah, you have to cop them. You knew this new jersey's here. You have to get it.
That was never me.
Oh, yeah. For me, it was clothes definitely took a part. Women...
And to be honest, I didn't even
not
get
so
a lot
much.
of money then, because I used to get like, what, £50 a week from my mom as allowance. So outside of when I started doing parties, I didn't even have enough money to even do anything in uni, because again, £50 in uni, by the time you spend on groceries, you spend £30 or £25. That's already half your money gone.
Well,
Then you have
okay, go on.
then you have Monday to Sunday to make that money last, which is why I said I had to learn how to hustle quick, because there was no money coming.
Okay, so what about the after uni part? Because I get it that uni puts you in a box where, one, there's survival for the daily. You need to be going to school. So what about the after uni part, where now you're on your own wheels? You still have to hustle a little bit. Maybe you're getting a bit of money from family support here and there, but it's mostly money you're making that you're spending.
To be honest,
So it's still the same thing.
yeah, still the same little things, like just more adult shit. Like, okay, I had to pay for my car, I had to pay for fuel, I had to pay for certain things in the house now to contribute. To be honest, I never did crazy spending. My crazy spending, obviously, I probably, like, when I first moved back, was like nightlife, because obviously I was doing my own parties, but you had to go out a bit. So obviously you're spending on drinks, you're spending on tables, when at least it was still more affordable then. So you don't realize those things add up. I was traveling a bit, because obviously I'll do international travel, that I'm staying long trips, but it was never, as I said, it was never anything crazy. The only difference is when you don't learn saving habits, those little spending add up. Because a lot of people think, like how you asked your question now, you think it's on big purchases. But those little, it's like when you're spending, I told somebody a joke, it's like if you end up spending, let's say even 30K a day, 5 times a week, that's a lot of money. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. in a week. That's just the minimum if you were to do the minimum. So people don't realize those things add up because week 1, 150, week 2, 300. And it's like, how much is your salary? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'll say it's those, for me, it was those little purchases without understanding saving habits that took all my money.
So for me, and I'm even taking the conversation a different route now. I would say that because I'm about to talk about when it dawned on me that yeah, I need to make money. Like I'm gonna be needing money for a couple of things in life as I go. And I think it was when I got my first phone by myself, or when I wanted to get my first phone by myself, is when it dawned on me as to how long it took me before I could save up and get that phone. And I'm like, hey, okay, I'm gonna need to like, money is very necessary, right? And this was in 2006. Yeah, I think it was 2006, 2007. Then it was the Nokia N91. I had my eyes locked on it. I think then it cost what, maybe like 60K, give or take, or 70K thereabouts. Between 50 and 70K. Sure. And at the time, the cool thing with technology then was camera phones. That was what was in vogue at the time. Camera phones had just came into the streets, and it was more about like the megapixels of your phone. The better the camera, the cooler your phone was. And the N95 just came with that slide technology where you slide down, the camera is right there, So, and I think it was one of the first few ones too that had a front camera.
Fair.
So it was proper, like my eyes were locked on it. There were other devices, but and Nokia was the phone then, So I had made inquiries, tried to find out what the price was. I think I found out the price was 50 to 70K. And I thought to myself, I said, man, I need this phone. And you see, of course, I'm also in the age where there's peer pressure, right? Everybody kind of feels that every now and then. Everybody also is using one kind of phone. Now, it wasn't really about getting the coolest phone. That was not really, I wasn't pressured to get the coolest phone. But I was pressured to get a phone that had a camera. That's one. Because everybody's going out and they say, oh, guys, let's take a picture. And then you're now the one who can't take a picture because you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, if I was going to get a phone, then let me get one that I know is going to be nice. That I know I'm not going to need to change. I won't feel any pressure. I'm not trying to get the best phone, but I also know my phone I can put it on the table with everybody else's and I won't feel like, so. And when I got the price, I was like, And then I think the most money I'd ever made from any kind of summer job or anything like that was maybe like 15K a month, right? And so when you look at that in perspective and you think to yourself that, okay, wait, I need to get a phone that's 50 to 70K. Where am I going to see this money? You get? And I had to start thinking about ways to actually make money and thinking about the fact that money making, that was just one aspect of it, which was buying a phone. There's so many other things that come into play. I hadn't started paying any bills, right? And that was already something that, I had to start really thinking about. Anyway, fast forward to later, I think the way I was able to get the phone was this uncle give me support. So, okay, come and take this 5,000 here. Come and take, I just put everything together and I just had the phone and I copped the phone. Now, when I bought the phone, it dawned on me that all that money that I had saved up can just go like this. Because now I'm using the phone. Okay, yes, you can text, can this, and I have a camera. And after like week 3 or 4, I was already tired.
That's normally what happens with phones.
Exactly. I was already tired. I was really like, the craze had already gone. And of course, technology, by the next 3 or 4 months, the newest innovation is coming out again. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So at that point, and I'll say that's the point where it dawned on me that it can seem like you have money, but that one thing, that one habit that is your money guzzler can actually.
I think it's mainly just because of Naira also. You can't really save Naira unless you're saving like big chunks.
Actually,
Naira.
back then you could save Naira because Naira was very strong.
Dead, but I mean, like in the last 5 years ago, you could possibly, but
not really. Actually, 5 years ago,
you could done. Compared to what we do in 2000, when it was at least even 600. I'll still take that any day over this thing. So that's why I say 5 years ago, fair. But you can't really save your Naira now because, like you said, anything can happen. I mean, that's happened to me. Like, but that's what I was saying. Even with your point, like that's why I said influence also matters in case things like this happen with money. So it's like, for example, like COVID now, when I was in London for COVID and I was stuck there, I didn't have a phone because my phone broke. So I couldn't afford to buy a new phone in pounds. So what I did was when I was making my TikToks, when I started, I was using my ex's phone. So I always ask her like, hey, can I borrow your phone to do TikToks? And I'll make like 5, 7, 8 TikToks. So at least it lasts each time I was making it. did that for like 3 months. Then by the time I came to Nige, and I started doing parties again, this is where the influence came into play, because obviously I was meeting a lot of OGs, meeting a lot of people, networking. And I started working for W Bar, and shout out to KJ and Jason, because they were the ones that actually gave me my first phone when I got back. So like my first iPhone. Not my first iPhone, but it was like the newest iPhone then. So this is like 2021. So it was like the newest iPhone. They were the ones that came to me when I was working with them. They're like, "Do you have a phone?" I'm like, "No, I don't have a phone. Like, I've been using my girl's phone." They're like, "What? You don't have a phone?" They're like, "Come to my house tomorrow." So the next day, pulled up to their house, brand new iPhone in a box. They said, "Oh man, we like your content. Can't be making it." Because I knew then I couldn't afford an iPhone, but the influence helped. Now fast forward, now like obviously this new iPhone, because I'm somebody like when I have something I don't like, I'm one of those people, we make it work until he dies.
Yeah, that's me. That's me too.
So like
That's
this
me too.
iPhone now is probably my first big purchase of an iPhone that was like, I had to really, when those purchases that you can afford it, but you're a cheap person inside that you're like, do I really need this? Do I really need this? But obviously when you close right now, you're like, okay, investments.
But those things save, because let me tell you what it does. It takes you out of the in quote unquote matrix of buying things that are trendy and then getting sucked into that whole wormhole. For me, I mean, I'd already, come out of that. But I do remember one random experience. And I'm saying this because when I was talking about phones, that was, phones were the first technology that would really draw you in, phones and games. So those are the two things I would even say were taking up my money. I either wanted to change to the PS3 whenever the PS3 came out, change it to the PS. Stuff like that. So when I had gotten my Nokia phone, fast forward to maybe like a year or two later, about a year later, the BlackBerry came out. And you know how it was when the BlackBerry came out.
Good times.
And then it was a BlackBerry Bold, that first big one, the bold one with the scroll ball in the center. Now, I had just like last time, like I said, I was still in my phase of everybody was now moving into BlackBerry. So the next thing was not about getting somebody's phone number. It was more about your BB pin, and if you're using a Nokia, there's no BB pin, So now this phone that I got now is becoming obsolete, because people were now instant messaging. What do you mean you're texting me? They're not going to text you back. What we do is instant message. Anyways, long and short of it is I got a BlackBerry Bold then. But then there was an incident that happened. One of the nights out, I went out sometime back, and I'm saying this because I know that our partners here at Pompey have some features that I know now would have helped me if I had this back then. But let me share this story. So this was way back, well, maybe 2008, and then I was out at night out. I was at rehab actually. I'm sure I don't know if you remember rehab.
Yeah, I remember rehab.
So I was at rehab, having a good night. Everything was cool, blah, blah, blah. Okay, come out, slightly tipsy, but I'm still okay. I'm able to drive home. So I get home. And then as soon as I get home, I'm tapping my pockets like this. And I'm like, wait, what? Where's my phone? And like that, my phone is gone, right?
Now, let's used to still BlackBerry record.
Now, let's paint that scenario to today's technology sphere, right? Your phone being stolen means that, because back then your phone being stolen was more like just your phone is stolen. Maybe your phone contacts are gone, and that was pretty much it. Maybe a few text messages, but that was it. Today's world, your phone being stolen is your bank apps can be, infiltrated. Your personal information can be infiltrated, can be altered, a lot of stuff can be done with it. And now that I think about it, because they have this feature called like the like a night lock feature. I mean, we'll put up the name of the actual feature on the screen. And what it does is you're able to set times between whatever time range you want, right? Where transactions would either be completely prohibited or you're going to have to put in a second authentication method before you can gain access into your phone or authorize a transaction. So imagine now that, like I said, back then my phone got stolen and I didn't realize until I got home. Now you're getting home, maybe like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., give or take, depending on wherever you're out to. And if you're someone who lives alone like me, if I get home by 3 a.m. and I realize that my phone is gone, I'm sorry, but it means that there's no access to any devices until maybe the sun is up a little bit, maybe by 7 a.m. I can knock a neighbor's, door and all that stuff. So within that time, I imagine that I'll just set myself a time lock. Maybe I know that I'm going to be out from like 10 to maybe 4 or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever the case. I'll just set myself the lock feature and lock between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. and say, okay, within this time, Either you ask me for this method of authentication, or no transactions at all will be approved.
So the thing is, I've had my phone stolen only twice in life. Thank God. I'm not saying it cockily. First time, we found the nigga, we beat his ass. It was a long time ago. I'm not violent anymore. This was like early 20s. Somebody stole my phone, and luckily we found the person, handled him. The second time is when I could have actually used the lock feature, because I used to, when I started off in nightlife, obviously I was out a lot every night, like till 3-4 in the morning. When I was doing my events, 3-4 in the morning. Then there was one night I was coming back from an EMG house party we had. Party was amazing. We all lit. We're all leaving. So I remember, like, I parked my car. The house party was on VI close to Landmark. So I parked my car around there. So I was drunk going to my car, that when I entered the car, I fell asleep. Right. So the way I woke up is somebody kept tapping my chest. So I'm like, why is somebody tapping my chest? Like, because I'm drunk. Then I wake up. Then I see there's a dude right beside me with the driver. One area boy is beside me in the driver's side. One area boy is sitting in the front seat. One is in the front of the car. The other one's in the back. So maybe it's just for me survival skills. Like, immediately I just see that now. I just agree to them. Guys, how far now? How all of you did? But obviously I'm drunk. Like, how all of you did? I beg, no vex. I probably come park for your spot. So I don't shy you. As soon as then they're like, bros, how far? So at that point when they said, bros, how far? Luckily I just started throwing up. But I started throwing up in the car. So they started panicking. Bro, young man, fine. But what they do? You know they do like this now. So they now carried me out the car. Like, were tapping my back for me to throw up and everything. I had wipes in the car. So they cleaned the whole car for me. Then once they just saw I stopped throwing up, they were yanning me, bros, how far, where your stuff and all that. Like, where's your phone? All that. I said, bros, I don't know. I'm just trying to make it home. They put me in the car. They said, oh yeah, make it back home after they cleaned the car. As soon as I got home, passed out. Woke up the next morning, my phone was gone, my watch was gone, my wallet was gone. Now, then I can't be angry too much because they still let me go with my car.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they could have easily kidnapped me, they could have done worse. So at that point now, like you said, if I had that feature now, I'd be like, oh, I'm safe.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Immediately I go home and I panic. Mind you, this was on a Friday. So that means bank is closed Saturday, Sunday. So really it was just roulette. Now, luckily, money no data account. So I'm okay. But if there was actual money in that account, I would have been panicking. Yeah. Which is why I say, like, now at this age, like, now that there's more online banks like PalmPay and all now, I have more peace of mind when I go. Like, now, obviously, I still go out at night. Not as frequent as I used to, but I'm not panicking because once I have a feature like that, it's not even the boys I'll be worried about. It's more of if I make drunk decisions.
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing is that I almost feel like... And it's a smart innovation that they've added on, because the second one that I was going to talk about, which I think is kind of related, kind of loops into the first one's feature, which is the first one is you lock a time between when transactions can be carried out or not, and then you now have the one where you can actually use someone else's phone to lock your account.
Yeah, like,
and I think that's crazy because, okay, think about it now. Like you said, even when you get back home and you're tipsy, right? You get back home and you're still a bit passed out. So for the first couple of hours of getting back home, you're not going to even do anything because you're not even processing what has happened yet. In that time that you're not processing, the time lock is saving you, right?
Yeah.
So, but now you think about, okay, what then happens when that time lock elapses? Because at some point you will need to use your phone if you were still with your phone. Do you get? So when you now wake up, you find you're still within your timeline for lock. You just go to your neighbor, please, bros. I know we're not on good terms.
I don't know about my neighbor, but at least a close friend.
Someone that you can definitely reach out to, and then you can just input a pin that can then lock your app and lock your account on the other side until you're able to now access the bank on Monday and then resolve the issue and all that stuff. But I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you guys should check it out. That's why PalmPay is our sponsor, because of these kind of features which are helping a lot of young people in Nigeria. Wow, I just clocked. There actually wasn't 2 times they stole my phone. There was a 3rd time.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. And that was an interesting time, but we'll talk about that in another episode. But definitely check out the features that PalmPay have. I think it's something that's needed for banks because, I mean, Lagos is a beautiful city. We have fun, but at the same time, we know how the streets can be. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So check out PalmPay and their new security features, and even just check out the whole bank as a whole. I think they're definitely one of the best banks out there coming up. I mean, let me ask you a final question, though, before we round up, though. if somebody, if you woke up now to see your phone stolen and they've taken money from your account like over ₦1 million, 2 million naira, what are you doing?
You just be quiet. I will just be quiet. There's nothing I can do. I'll just look at it, look at the numbers very well, count the zeros, and I'll just be like, okay. And I'll just drop my phone.
Yeah.
Anyone trying to reach me, just know that I'm not available for at least 1 week. Just don't. Just don't.
It's grace of God that has to be on your life for me not to track you. That's all I'll say. There's one guy I gave a pass in December, to be fair. And to be fair, if you ever watch this episode, don't worry, I've forgiven you. But the day we catch you, there's a guy that stole about, was it 1.5 from us in December for Sunday at last year. There was a guy we paid. And this is why I say even that lock feature can be good, because sometimes I think I made the decision when I was drunk, like planning and all that. I was already out. So yeah, just here's the money, go and set it up. Where that lock feature was there. Zero. So no.
I'm saying that even that how you can ask.
But I sent him a transfer to do a booking when I was out one night. I think a client called me to book something.
Right.
Gave him the money. Where I wish I had that lock feature where you would have calmed down to plan. That decision.
Exactly, because
it was a rush decision that I just called one of the boat vendors I know. Hey, bros, how far? A long time. Book this thing for me. Next day, guy's phone full off. Display message off. WhatsApp, that disappear message after 24 hours. No, we had the whole lucky looking for him at that point. But then it was my mom, shout out to you, that made me let it go. So again, God saved you.
It's well. Because I know we will find him. We will find him. I see what you mean. We have to let it go. But all right, guys, and remember to get the PalmPay app and use our code MCAST so that you can support the people who are supporting our podcast and our community.
And we will see you next time on Menisms. I am Michael Scenario.
And I'm Morowa Gunkoya.
And we'll see you next time on Menisms.